affect you, the residents of the Ohio Valley. Sponsored by Trinity Health System.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rich Pierce. Thank you for joining us for this edition of One-on-One with Rich Pierce. This week, I'm joined by Executive Director of the Business Development Corporation, Pat Ford. Pat, thank you so much for joining us. And you were just telling me you just had your 10-year anniversary in this position. So happy anniversary.
Thank you. It's really exciting, and we've been enjoying a lot of success in our region, so I'm glad to be part of it. Well,
and as I guess part of your 10-year celebration, you went to China, but it was business.
Yes.
So what did you do in China?
Well, it's interesting. The mission served two purposes. The first purpose was related to West Liberty University. I'm the chairman of the Board of Governors at West Liberty, and there's a healthcare initiative underway in China to provide universal health care to all of their residents. And West Liberty University is plugged into some specific programs that we can collaborate on, and we worked with some investors to talk about that, and I'll leave it to West Liberty University to share those with you. But the second part of that mission was to explore economic development opportunities for the Northern Panhandle. And right now, if you look at the state of West Virginia, we have a rich, diverse mix of international companies. Some 27 countries have industries in the state of West Virginia. We have over half a dozen international companies just in the Northern Panhandle. And China is one of those growing economies. I mean, they're the second largest economy in the world. And they are exploring investments and also projects in West Virginia, and we want to be at the table, and they've come to us on multiple occasions to talk about being at the table. And part of my job in economic development is to make sure that we do not deprive any West Virginia residents of an employment opportunity. So it's our job to make sure that we explore every opportunity nationally and internationally for companies that are interested in opening up in the Northern Panhandle, to give them a shot and work with them and put together whatever incentive package is necessary to match them to the right site.
You've gone international before.
Yes.
So what makes this area interesting to international companies?
This area, and this actually comes up every time with every international company. The supply chain logistics for the Northern Panhandle are more efficient than anywhere else in the United States, meaning that you can get product into the Northern Panhandle of West Virginia and the Ohio River Valley quicker and cheaper than anywhere else in the United States. And we're fortunate in that we have a great interstate system proximate to us. We're on the Ohio River, and we have Norfolk Southern Railroad, and we're proximate to the Pittsburgh International Airport. So that makes it attractive to these international companies. Secondly, these companies look for loyalty and low turnover rates. And they also look for a labor force that has the muscle memory to work, to handle metals. And if you look at the labor force in the Northern Panhandle of West Virginia, we have a rich industrial heritage. No one can handle metal better than the workforce in the Ohio River Valley. And international companies know that. They've done the research, they've done the tests, they've done the analysis. And so when they look at the supply chain logistics, when they look at the reliable labor force, when they look at a labor force that can be trained quicker to handle metals and chemicals better than anybody else in the United States, and it's more cheaper to do business here, why not? And that's what helps these companies when they're looking to go to the United States. They want West Virginia to be the platform to enter into the United States for their first U.S. manufacturing operation.
Now, you're pitching businesses all the time, not just internationally, but locally,
yes.
Nationally, big businesses, small businesses. How does your pitch differ when you're dealing with a small business as opposed to a big business, domestic versus international?
So when we talk to small business, we give them a big picture as to what they're walking into. And that picture, quite frankly, is a lot different today than it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we would have been hard-pressed to attract a small business. We might have been hard-pressed to get a large business in here. But what's happened is that we've obviously discovered the large shale gas reservoir that everybody's talking about. If the Ohio River Valley was its own country, we would have the third largest shale gas reservoir than any other country in the world. And that has created a renaissance for our industrial properties. It has been a catalyst to grow our value-added steel companies. It's provided a catalyst to grow our chemical companies. And it's added one more industry cluster to our portfolio, and that's natural gas. So when you look at all of these industry clusters together, we have over $80 billion of investment underway right now. Who wouldn't want to be part of that? Restaurants, back office operations, doctor's office, lawyers, healthcare. The healthcare industry has been exploding, part of that. So again, they want to be part of that because there's more traffic, more investment, and it becomes a secure investment because those larger chemical companies, they are the pioneers, and they paved the way, and they've reduced the risk for these smaller businesses to come in here and get a return on their investment.
Now let's talk about some space where people are investing and where investments will come if things go the way you'd like them to.
Right.
One of them being the former site of the BOP at Weirton Steel, and we've got some excellent video of that we're going to show in just a second here. So, of course, the whole implosion widely publicized. A big change to, I guess you could call it the skyline of downtown Weirton. So what's the latest on that? What are you looking to put in that location?
What was really exciting about having the Frontier group of companies take ownership of this property is that we all of a sudden had a local partner now. And when I say local, even though they're based in Buffalo, they're here, and they're here to see this project through. We've been challenged in the Northern Panhandle in that if anybody drives around in the Northern Panhandle, you can see that most of the land is either in the floodplain or on a hillside or an abandoned factory. And most of those factories are fairly small footprints. We've not been able to successfully attract the larger steel companies, petrochemical companies, energy companies, because we don't have what I call those mega sites, those sites between 50 and 200 acres. What was exciting about Frontier acquiring this property and tearing down a lot of those surplus buildings from ArcelorMittal and former Weirton Steel is now we can assemble the larger sites to attract these $200 million to $2 billion investments that you hear about locating in Monaca, PA with the Shell cracker, or Dilly's Bottom, Ohio with the PTT Global cracker. It puts us in the game to attract these larger factory sites, and now opens up an opportunity for us to employ almost 2,500 people on this site. So
the ideal type of business to come into there would be one of these large-scale businesses like an ethane cracker plant.
Yeah, if you look at that 1,100 acres, we actually have it broken down into phases, and we have a master plan. And we are heavily recruiting companies in energy, chemical, value-added metal, transportation, logistics, and healthcare, those 5 industry clusters, to really move the needle and get major employers into the city of Weirton. On the periphery, what you'll see is we have a lot of new residential townhouses, single-family homes, and also garden apartments, because one of the comments that we're hearing from these new industries moving in is that we do not have any new residential housing stock. You don't see those planned subdivisions with model homes like you see in the suburbs of Pittsburgh or Washington or Boston or Chicago. And so we need to stay ahead of that, and we need to provide more housing. And Frontier, fortunate for us, has experience in residential development, so they're weaving that into the fabric of their development as well.
So what else do you think may end up in one of these spots? Because it's not just the BOP as far as an industrial site that has been where the old factory has been torn down, and you're hoping to have something there. What are some other things you're looking for when it comes to filling these large sites?
So what was interesting, when I started back in 2009, the unemployment rate in our area was 13.7%. We had not had any major announcement of new industries moving in, and not really any existing industry expansions to celebrate. So we took the risk and hired a consultant to identify what the future market would be for industries to move into our area if we had sites. And the outcome of that study was that there was going to be a need for sites in energy, chemical, value-added metal, and transportation logistics, those 4 large industry hubs. But they also said that we needed sites, and we didn't have any sites. And so we asked our consultants to advise us as to how we can start assembling properties. And what they did is they started pointing at all of these abandoned factories that dot our landscape, and also, quite frankly, dot the landscape in the entire Ohio River Valley. Glass factories, steel factories, chemical factories. And so what we started doing is working with partners at the U.S. EPA, the U.S. EDA. We worked with our state partners to put together a capital stack of financings to start acquiring these abandoned factories. And sure enough, those smart people from Atlanta, Georgia were spot on, and they discovered the shale gas reservoirs. $35 billion of pipelines started being developed and is currently being developed. That paved the way for energy companies to want to move into the area to set up shop. And at first, people thought that we were getting a little bit excited about nothing, because our first tenants in these factories were temporary laydown yards, pipeline people. So once the pipeline was built, they were gone in 18 months. But to our good fortune and proper planning, what ended up happening is those industries that are in the energy business and in the value-added metals business started saying, you know what, we need to be right in the middle of that shale play. We need to have a factory there. And so literally over the course of 2 or 3 years, we had companies like Pietro Fiorentini from Italy open up their first U.S. manufacturing, and they build valves, meters, and regulators that go all over the United States. Bidell Gas Compression from Calgary, Canada, moved here to build their first U.S. operation here, and they build these large gas compression units that go all over the country to pull the natural gas out of the ground. And then you look at other companies that were in the value-added steel business, but they expanded into our market because of the play with the shale gas and also our workforce. And then we just had a recent announcement of Jupiter Aluminum moving in here. We've had expansions from Wheeling Mission, Rue 21. It's really been exciting, and those are the types of folks we've been putting in these sites.
All right, we're going to break for 2 minutes. More with Pat Ford when we return.
My toe is swollen. It could be gout. They say something's going around. I think I tore my meniscus. Maybe not. Hey, babe. It's either nothing or AB to lip or protonemia.
This is where I'm from. This is where I grew up. This place means so much. These are the things I love.
The power of Severe Weather Team 9 is now in your hands. Advanced technology that pinpoints the weather right down to your neighborhood, your kid's sports game, and your drive around the valley. The Severe Weather Team 9 app. Hourly forecast updates, 7-day forecast. Severe weather warnings to keep you and your family safe. Sponsored by Epic Restoration. This is One-on-One with Rich Pierce, a deeper dive into the issues that affect you.
All right, we are back with Pat Ford of the Business Development Corporation. Pat, again, thank you so much for being here. We talked extensively in the last segment about the BOP, about your trip to China, but now I want to talk to you about one of the areas where we've seen such a change over the last few years, and that's the Three Springs Drive area. So just catch us up. What have you done so far?
What's interesting about that Three Springs Drive is a hot market. All of the local brokers call that the golden mile. Everybody wants to have some investment and some commercial activity there. And the last large piece of real estate that was in that area was the 72 acres just off of Three Springs at Park Drive. And we're fortunate to have a great group of local investors that are involved in this project that want to have a project that really reflects something new, something different. And what we're looking at and what they want us to put there is basically a mini new town center in that area, and the types of uses that they want to have in there to create a really cool dynamic is they want a mix of retail, office, second story residential above the retail and office, and also a convention center that we're partnering with the city of Weirton on. And it's going to create a very cool vibe there, a vibe that you might see in some communities like in Myrtle Beach, or you might see in other places like Charlottesville, Virginia, but something where you can see people live and work and also enjoy some activities after hours. And so we're really excited about that. And we also have a number of partners plugged into that to help make that project happen.
It's a diverse group of businesses on Three Springs Drive. So why was it so important to get such a kind of an eclectic mix of different things going on? You've got restaurants, some specialty restaurants, new ones going up right now. Why was that such an important thing?
The reason why it's important is Weirton is in a very unique situation, and we are taking full advantage of that. It's right at the crossroads of Ohio 7, West Virginia 2, and US 22. We're proximate to the airport. So when you look at the $78 to $85 billion of investment, you have a lot of traffic moving through Weirton. Everybody's got to go through Weirton to get somewhere. And it provides a natural, organic stopping point for people to either recharge or to congregate. And so that's why you see restaurants, service areas, gas stations, department stores, boutique clothing stores and service areas popping up there. It's really happened organically. And so what we want to do with this last 72 acres is kind of tie all of those projects that have happened organically together in one focal point. And we're confident that we can do that.
All right, another short break. We will be back with more of One-on-One with Rich Pierce with Pat Ford in just 2 minutes.
Think all court shows are the same?
We're talking about your father. Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Think again. Judge Caprio rules with common sense.
I was having contractions. I was rushing to the hospital.
Inspector Quinn, what does justice demand? Jail?
And compassion.
I'm going to take the circumstances into consideration.
This fall.
This is the best court experience I've had.
Clearly, Judge, he's been in a court before.
Get caught in Providence.
Get your morning ready with News 9 Sunrise.
All the major local news overnight.
And if it's breaking news that's happening in your neighborhood, I'll take you there with live reports.
Plus, I'll have weather updates throughout the morning. It's a forecast that gets you morning ready. It's a sunny start. Nice to see the sunshine after clouds rolled the roost yesterday. Comfortable start.
Be ready before you walk out the door.
On News 9 Sunrise, weekdays beginning at 5 a.m.
Yeah, I have my own theme song and everything.
Baby, if you've ever wondered.
What is going on?
Wonder.
Whatever became of me.
I certainly do.
I'm living on the air on MeTV.
Cincinnati?
On Cincinnati, WKRP.
You know what I mean?
I sure do.
We're on WKRP in Cincinnati.
I'm serious, Johnny.
So am I.
On WTOV 9.3, MeTV Ohio Valley, and on cable. This is One-on-One with Rich Pierce, a deeper dive into the issues that affect you. Sponsored by Trinity Health System.
Welcome back to episode 3 of One-on-One with Rich Pierce. Again, in case you missed it, joined by Pat Ford of the BDC. Now, Pat, I want to ask you, we've had some recent stories out of Brooke County about the EDA, the Economic Development Group there. And we've had some questions from folks. What's the difference between the BDC and the EDA operating in similar spheres in terms of location? So could you clear some things up for us?
The EDA is a group of volunteers that work on a variety of community projects. The BDC is the lead economic development agency of Brooke and Hancock County. And since 1993, when we were incorporated by resolution, we became the economic development agency. So when we wake up every morning, we're thinking about jobs. When we go to bed every night, we're thinking about jobs. And we got a staff to do that. And since 2009, when we really hit our stride, became owner developers, we started working hard to attract industry into Brooke County. And since then, we've been able to drop the unemployment rate from 13% to 6%. We've been able to attract 3,200 jobs, add $136 million in payroll, and quite frankly, attract $350 million of private investment. The BDC is about jobs.
Another question that we've heard from folks before, kind of the sentiment that are we giving up in this area too much to get these businesses into here? So what are the incentives, and is it too much at times? Is there ever a time where you feel uncomfortable with what a corporation or a business wants?
We've been fortunate in our area. We have not been put into a position where we have to buy a business or an industry. When someone wants to locate in Brooke or Hancock County, they're not coming in here to get cheap land or a good deal. They're coming in here for two reasons, and that's our labor force and our supply chain with our transportation logistics, or quite frankly, our location. They want here because they know that they're going to get a reliable workforce that has handled industry or industry products for generations. And they also are here because of our location. Those two areas are going to drive. So when we have to close a gap financially, it's always been financing. We've never had to give away anything to get these companies here.
What do you look for in a company to bring here? I mean, when you're going over the list, you're driving around, maybe looking at different things. What really drives it home that this area needs that?
We do not mince our words. When someone says or asks me who we are industry. Our area is the area that powers this country, and we've been powering this country for generations. We build things. We slit, coat, grind, galvanize, or roll. We work with our hands. That's who we are. We're not Williamsburg, Virginia. We're not Hershey, Pennsylvania. We are industry. And there are times in this country where some people shy away from that. That is our history, that's our heritage, and that's our culture. That's who we are.
All right, we're going to take another 2-minute break. We will be back with some final thoughts from Pat Ford in just a couple of minutes.
As a parent, nothing is more important to you than your children. But what happens when life stops you cold with the words, "Your child has cancer"?
Hearing those words, they hit like a punch to the gut each time. And life changed.
When it's your child, all you want to do is make them better.
These could be your kids. They could be the kids in my family. Please call or go online right now and become a St. Jude Partner in Hope for only $19 a month. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital fights every day to save children's lives. Treatments invented at St. Jude have helped push the overall childhood cancer survival rate from 20% to 80%. And we won't stop until no child dies from cancer.
When the doctor came in and said, "Your son has leukemia," I didn't know anything about leukemia. All I could think of was, much time do I have with him?
Families like these never receive a bill from St. Jude for anything, not for treatment or travel or housing or food, because we believe all a family should worry about is helping their child live.
St. Jude saved us as a family. I'm just so grateful.
For just $19 a month, you'll help us continue the life-saving research and treatment these kids need. Join with your debit or credit card right now, and we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt that you can proudly wear to show your support.
You are in the absolute best place in the world that you could be in. They are never going to stop fighting for your child.
Your commitment can provide what every child deserves, the chance to live a long and healthy life. Please call or go online and become a St. Jude Partner in Hope right now.
This is One-on-One with Rich Pierce, a deeper dive into the issues that affect you. Sponsored by Trinity Health System.
Welcome back to One-on-One with Rich Pierce, joined by Pat Ford today. Pat, we talked about this being your 10-year anniversary, so take me back in time. It's 2009. You're walking into this job. What's the situation?
It was interesting. When I came to this job, I really didn't know what I was walking into. Some friends asked me to pursue it, and I did. And when I started looking into the data, I realized that our unemployment rate was 13.7%. And when I received my customary tour of the area, I saw a lot of abandoned factories. And quite frankly, I didn't know what to do. So when you're in a situation like that, what do? You say you need time to plan. And we created a plan and an end game that built on our strengths. And when you look now over the past 10 years, we capitalize on those strengths. Our unemployment rate was 13.7% in 2009. It's 6% now. There were some 4,900 people working in our primary industry clusters of energy, chemical, value-added metal, transportation, logistics, and healthcare. We are now employing over 8,200 people. That means we've added over 3,000 jobs in those industry clusters. We've added over $100 million in annual payroll. And also, if you look back, we have the highest percentage increase in construction growth in our metropolitan area, and we've ranked in the top 3 over the past 3 years. So we are building, we are making, and we are doing what one would expect us to do, and that's capitalize on our strengths and improve the quality of life of the people in our region.
We have just about 1 minute, and I do want to ask you, what sticks out, one thing sticks out the most over the past 10 years, what would it be?
It would be the partnerships. We are a small geographic area with few resources. We could not be where we are today if we didn't have friends in the White House, friends with our U.S. senators, our congresspeople, the governor, the Secretary of Commerce, the U.S. EPA, the United States Economic Development Administration, and our philanthropies like the Benetton Foundation. If it were not for our partners, we would not be where we are today.
Pat, thank you so much for your time today. That does it for this edition of One-on-One with Rich Pierce. Again, a big thank you to Pat Ford of the BDC for joining me today. If you have anyone you'd like to see on the show, let me know. Send me a tweet at RichWTOB9, or you can email me at rpierce@WTOB.com. Have a great day.
My toe is swollen. It could be gout.